Hello there, my friends. How are you? My name is Natasha. I'm the creator and the founder of the Glow Up Method, and I am so excited to be here with you. I just have to say this today. I really, after yesterday, who was a person who really allowed my own day to become hijacked, right? So I was in it deeply in it, using my right hand, my default setting, which made me prioritize everybody else's needs, desires, time, etc., on my own. It started off well. I started off cleaning, and then I realized I was feeling pain, and I was in that moment. I was like, I can continue to push through this pain, or I can delegate out. I can kindly communicate to the people that also live in this house that I am unable to really do much more. And I wanted to speak their lingo. So in fantasy football, if somebody's injured, they go on the IR. So I was like, Mom is on the IR list. I've done as much as I can do, but I really need to nurture myself so that I can come back stronger. So here are the things that need to be done. I need the dishes finished. I need the sweeping. I need some vacuuming and things like that. And much to my surprise, suddenly I heard the vacuum and I heard things and shuffling in the dishes. And so I felt really grateful. Number one, I felt really grateful that I didn't choose to continue to clean up everybody else's mess. I felt really grateful that I had the words to communicate, where in the past I would have been in pain, frustrated, all these things. And I might have yelled, I'm pretty guaranteeing, I would try, right? I'm like, please, can you guys do this? And hoping you get a response. And then you go downstairs and nothing has been done. And it's like a personal attack, right? I'm like, damn, I do so much for you guys. And I'm literally asking you to clean up after you. And now I'm feeling some kind of way because that was disrespected, right? I feel disrespected. I feel like my time doesn't matter. And that there's this assumption that, I can do whatever I want and Mom is going to clean up the mess, and I would feel frustrated, right? So I would then either choose to clean it up for them, which would be enabling them and teaching them how to, treat me. And it's crazy because they don't act this way outside the world. I was like, so if you go to a friend's house, are you just leaving the dishes? No, Mom, we're doing these. And I was like, well, thank God, there's a difference. On one aspect, yes, I wish that you behaved that way in the house, but at the very least, at least when you go out in this world, you are acting the certain way that I have instilled in you. And, thankfully you've chosen to adapt, that's what I've laughed before in class. Especially with my daughter, I feel like sometimes I'm not picking on her. I think, it's an interesting dynamic. I never was with a mom, and I think I put a lot of pressure on her because I wanted this idyllic relationship, and probably ours is a totally idyllic normal relationship, but that wasn't the one I wanted. I wanted the fairy tale relationship, and for all the things that drive me nuts about her, how headstrong she is, how she'll communicate her needs. Those are the very things I'm the most proud about her for, right? I'm so proud that she has her words and that she has her convictions. I may not always like her words that come out to me, but on the same turn, I appreciate her willingness to communicate and have growth and not silence her voice. So there's so many things I'm proud of, although it does as her, as a human and as a mom, but as somebody who lives with her and interacts with her every day, sometimes it's a little bit challenging, I'm not going to lie. and of course we've worked at, we work and we continue, we will always be working together on improve, as far as, in my book, I will always be working to, continually improve that relationship and understand her and try to understand one another. And so, especially with my daughter, the teacher would be like, she's the sweetest kid. She's so nice. She's so help. I say, you talking about my kid? My kid, I'm sorry, hold on. Did you know my daughter is Karina? And they would joke, and laugh or whatever. But no, quite honestly, I know, I have watched them from close and I've watched them from afar. Yes, I am that stalker mom who at times would if I could know there was a playground, you hear a story. And I think, again, coming from my background where I would go and tell everybody, everything is okay. Oh yeah, at lunch today, everything was great. While on the inside, the reality of it was I was sitting alone. And sometimes I wasn't even just sitting alone. I was being thrown food at and ridiculed and pointed at and teased and it was just really tough, right? But I told everybody it was good. And I really wanted people to believe that because I didn't want them to worry about me. I was so worried about them that I didn't want them to worry about me. I didn't want them to think a different way of me, right? Like, I didn't realize at the time what everything was. But in hindsight, with reflection, looking back at my childhood, when I questioned, like, why didn't I just share that with somebody that I was struggling? And, there was this embarrassment, there was guilt, there was a sense of like, this is what I was due. Like, this is my punishment for existing. I was born and I'm just made to suffer, right? Like, the world is kind of against me. And, I didn't really have a chip on my shoulder ever. It just kind of was. And, some people have it easy. Some people are blonde. Some people are brunettes, just some people, it's just, we're all different. And, my different is the, like, crap happens to me all the time. And, I really had that kind of belief, but I didn't have a chip. I wasn't like pissed about it. I wasn't like mad. I wasn't like, these things. Yeah, of course. I wanted that like smooth life and easy thing in the storybooks that you read in the novels and the see on TV or at the movie theater. But that just wasn't the case for me. And, in hindsight, right, I can look back and in reflection, it made sense. It makes sense to me now why, if I could, I would sneak, or, when the kids had multiple siblings in the school, I would be like, hey, just check out, like, make sure, let me know, report back if there's anything wrong, because I really wanted to make sure that their story was aligning with what the reality was. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that their story was. And even when my daughter was having times where she was alone, eating alone, where she was, being ridiculed or teased or, arguing with people at school or whatever, it was hard for her. You want to know why it was hard for her? She grew up around a lot of older adults. And I think a lot of us had times where we weren't always honest with ourselves and we weren't always honest with the people around us. And because we really we had this wisdom and we had this knowledge now as an adult, we just didn't really see it as an option, right? Our default setting was, to just be quiet, silence ourselves. And that got us into trouble. And so, here we are, like, making sure we're instilling all of our personal pain, like, points into her so that she can adapt and change, so that she can alter the way it goes. She doesn't have to wait until she is 20 or 30 to have this, wisdom that we're going to plant some seeds. Maybe they'll take, maybe they won't, but at least give her the knowledge so she can choose how to navigate this world. So she was one of those people who made it into the popular group, right? Like, that's the coveted thing to do when you're in school, right? And then when she got there, she was like, I don't like these people. Like, I feel terrible when I'm with these people. They're choosing to gossip, talk about people, and say things that are either not, I know they aren't true, or just quite frankly mean. And she's like, this is just not, it doesn't feel right inside of me. And she's always been that person that has stuck up for somebody else, right? So it's really hard, just like with me, it's really hard for her to sit by and just observe injustices if she just is that see something, say something kind of person. And it obviously gets you in trouble, right? Because you're not part of the herd anymore, and then it causes the other person who's doing the damage, the lying, the gossip talk or whatever it is, it causes them to have like their own, thing. And so the easiest thing to do is to now, turn it back on her. So she oftentimes was just like, she would spend a lot of lunches sitting with teachers in their classroom, helping and things like that. So her experience in school was different than a lot of other people. And again, like those things, like as much as I wanted her to feel accepted, I was so proud that she had this awareness of who she was, and that, the actions of others and the people that she was surrounding with herself was not in harmony together. They were not in alignment. And instead of choosing to just sacrifice herself and say, you know what, I don't like it, but I'm part of the popular kids, people like me, I'm going to hang out here still. She knew that in her soul, in her alignment, that it was better to be alone or choose different people, such as teachers or, one or two friends versus having 20 friends. She knew that at the end, it may not be the easiest of the decisions, but it was the one that was going to allow her to navigate her life the most authentic way. And so to know that at a young age, like, kudos to you, because I don't know. I would have, if I would have had the courage to do so at her age. I just didn't have the tools or the knowledge or the anything, like, as part of this people pleasing chameleon, my goal was always to blend in. My goal was to always, do whatever it was I could do to make somebody like me. And even if that was at the cost of myself. And while she wants people to like her, she's also okay with if you don't like her, as long as she's being herself. And I think for me, that's the thing too, is like, I don't care if somebody doesn't like me, but I really do want them to make their decisions based on facts and based on who I am, not what somebody else is telling them, right? Like, don't we all want that, like, at least that much of respect, like, I think that that's fair. Like, get to know someone. So many times we just automatically don't like somebody because of their views or because of their, where they live or so many things. Like, there's so many judgments. And then you get to know them and you're like, oh, wait, like, I actually really respect you. I may not agree with your point of view. And that doesn't mean, we can't be friends or get along. It just means that we are all so different and should have this place where our differences are accepted. And it doesn't need to be, a war. It doesn't need to be an argument or anything like that. Like, to be able to just sit back and listen to somebody else's view without feeling that we need to change them or we can't be in their presence because they feel this way, unless it's like extremely, like hurtful, things like that, then obviously yes. But I think that, at the end of the day, like I said, for so long in my life, I really did think in a way the world was against me. Again, I didn't have a chip on my shoulder about it. Like, I wasn't angry about it. It just was. There was nothing I was able to do. A lot of things like happened to me, kind of thinking. And I just had to, use my resilience. I had to just buckle up, put my big girl panties back on and get out there and do life anyways. Like, that's just the way you can, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. Like, this was my mantra. This was it. Like, my life is hard. I'm going to keep taking hits every freaking day. Whatever it is, it's going to come at me from my kids, my husband, work, money, government, everything. It's going to come at me. Just accept it now. Like, just take it and know that there are very few people that are kind of for you. It is me against the world in essence, and it's me to use all this knowledge that I've acquired in order to, like, get my way through the world, just to try to level the playing field. And what the blessing that I'm so grateful for this personal journey is, I really have not only learned, but I truly believe that life is not happening to me. It's just not. It really is happening for me. And all those things that I used to say, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I realize now I get to do these things. That even on the toughest days, even on the days when there is so much coming at me, it is still such a gift to live this life for this day, because not everybody gets to, and not everybody who starts today will get to go to sleep tonight. And I know it's like I'm constantly going back to it, but it really reminds me about how precious life is. And the more precious I understand life is, and the more I know life isn't out to get me, the more beautiful it is. The more appreciative I am for those little moments. Like I said, I do my gratitude every night. And when I do it, it's not the big things. It's not like, waking up in Amsterdam. It's making eye contact with somebody. It's giving somebody a compliment and really genuinely watching them glow up. That is something. It is something in all of us. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be loved, right? And again, like I say, for so long, I was the biggest perp. I was the one who was not living on me, not seeing me, and silencing me. I was hiding. I was not talking. And when I did talk, all I would say was what I thought you wanted to hear. I was making a lot of assumptions. And sometimes it worked. And so some people in my past life, they know a story about me, right? They know what I allowed them to see. And they don't know the whole full story. And I really, really, really appreciate everybody who's been a part of my life because they've taught me so much. Like every single person has taught me so much. And what I've learned today is there is so much kindness out there, right? Like I'm here and, to me, it's just part of my journey. I don't look at it as it's courageous. And I don't look at it like it's any of that things. Although I do know, like, yeah, I wouldn't have done this a long time ago. I would have been way too scared. And it's not because of the way I physically look. No, it is because of the way I feel. The way I've invested in myself has allowed me to have the courage and the confidence to say, this is me. Love me, hate me. I truly, at the end of the day, it's not going to make or break me because I know now what I didn't know then, who I am. And do I know myself particularly 100% and I'm not growing? No, I'm a work in progress. There is a lot more to be learned and a lot more to begin to practice in my life to have the totality of the way I'd like to behave on every single day. Gaining the awareness and seeing, having your blind spots come at you glaring, like yesterday, feeling frustrated, taking over the whole thing, doing all this. And quite frankly, sitting when I woke up today, a different person, I'm reborn a new person, I'm thinking, and I was like, you know what? One thing I missed yesterday was patience is power. So yesterday, for those of you who didn't watch the episode, my son's a professional gamer now, as you've heard along here. He tore his ACL. And instead of taking that ACL as this happened to him, as he was talking to colleges to go play for colleges, because this has been his dream, he now was, if you tear your ACL, it's in your knee. And he had some also meniscus damage. If you do this, you basically are in rehab at minimum 1 year. It takes 2 years for a full recovery on average. And for 6 months, he was unable to even physically touch a soccer ball. We're not even talking about the physical pain he's in, the rehab process, surgery. Like that is a whole separate physical beast, but on a emotional level, right? And so oftentimes a lot of athletes who have this whole identity built around their sport suffer significantly because in one quick second, your social life, the way you spend your time, your stress relief, your passion, gone. Like gone. There's no like, oh, we can just play it casually. No, it is gone. You can't dribble a ball. You can't do any of these things. And, it is so important to me that the mental health aspect of an injury is addressed. And I was really because I was so devastated as well, like of all the loss, like I saw this injury and in that second, so many dreams, so many things that he had been looking for, so many things that I had looked forward to, finishing his career, as somebody in town versus, and then watching it emerge on a bigger scale, like all these things that we had anticipated didn't work out. And I gotta say, I'm a person who did not support the gaming. I had restrictions on them. I've learned now he would sneak. They found loopholes, little brats, right? But he loved the gaming so much. He found the loopholes, and I just didn't see them. But, he did confess now many years later about how he would, stay up later and play and things like that. But then we all do something a little sneaky. If that's the worst of it, hey, I wish, I had the worst thing I had done was go out there and play some video games. Because I do know there was some scaling fences and sneaking out and bypassing home alarms. And, I had full on, sneak out mode on gear, notes left for my dad. So if he actually did come in the room and see, so he knew I was okay and not kidnapped, it was a very thought out process, very premeditated. And, the thrill of coming back in and no lights are on and your dad's not in the room, with a belt ready to beat your butt because you were out in the middle of the night with some scandalous people in hindsight. So yeah, if you're just sneaking and playing video games, bless up. Thank you so much. So that's the extreme you're going to. But, to now come to a place where, like I've said before, he has now turned that injury into something beautiful. So, yes, temporarily a door was closed, but another one was kicked wide the heck open and he went in it. And it was a choice, right? Like he could have sat around being sad, he could have done other things, but he really wanted to compete and he really wanted this experience that has taken him legitimately in a few months all over the world. And he's won some money doing so. And he's not more than that. He's learned so much. He's learning about business. He's starting a business. He's applying things. He's looking on a broader sense. I want to do tournaments. I want to include other people so that they know they can have this opportunity, because I know how hard it is to get your foot in the door and that there's just not a lot of opportunities unless you're signed to a team and these things. So he was like, I am so willing and believe in this that I'm willing to even invest my own money to make sure that the community in North America continues to grow. So that again, like shows a philanthropy. I mean, I just couldn't be more proud. Obviously, I would never have wished it on him, but like again, he had this thing, like he was never felt sorry for himself. He never like, why did this happen to me and all this stuff. And granted, he's had brain surgery, so he has like and elbow surgery and like and ear surgery and hernia surgery, like so he's no stranger to adversity and coming back. So I think that, if you can come back from brain surgery, I mean, there's pretty much like almost anything you can come back from, right? Like if you can manage to keep that together, I think it's pretty remarkable. So I say all this to say what I really wanted to get to and what was such a strong standout point is community. And I think so oftentimes we think someone's out to get us, people want to hurt us. Even on here when I've mentioned, I was totally prepared, right? Because I didn't want to be scared. I didn't want it to, I understand there's, things lurk in the dark. They're called internet trolls or something like that. I don't vibe on that level, but I understand that they exist, right? And I was prepared because when I watched the videos, I'm like, what the heck? Those first few ones and stuff, I'm like, okay, where are we going, girl? Like what one of them we just start mid, but that's the process. And I've promised myself and I've promised you that I'm going to take you from the beginning into where this is going to hopefully end. And it's going to be something that's bigger, but it's slow, it's messy, and it's imperfect. But there was this one, and for so long I was so shy and quiet, and I really felt like I needed to do life on my own, that to reach out or, I don't want to be a bother, I'm not going to say anything. And what I'm learning is we aren't bothers. And if somebody doesn't want to do something, they have the ability to not. So somebody posted in something and it was like, hey, send me your thing and I will give you my feedback of your channel. And all I can say is, I took the shot, right? I was like, here you go. Like, I have 1 week of content, have at it, But I wanted another set of eyes. Like, what's the point? And this gentleman said such the nicest things. And I was like, are you serious right now? Like I could see the imperfections in this, but he said the nicest things. But he also gave some feedback. Like, he is not vibing with this, me being in the corner of the room. He is like, your personality is way too bubbly for this. And I agree. Like, I 1000% agree. I'm like, how the heck can we spice this up? Like, where can I go? Where can I change this? Like, I am in a mode. I am appreciating the feedback. It wasn't to hurt me. It wasn't like your background is crap, like you're a bad person because you pay. No, it was like, hey, I want to see you thrive. And he's like, I'm loving the before and after photo. He's like, and I almost couldn't recognize that the two were the same, but you had the same big smile. And so I'm really proud that everything that I think inside and put out is in alignment with who I am, because I agree with what he's saying. There's nothing that I'm like, no, wait, you don't know me correctly, or I'm misrepresenting my channel in the way I don't want to. So what I'm saying here is, there are so many people, and this was free. There was nothing. There are people like that out there all over the world. When I talk to someone, I got a message and somebody sent me an audio message and how I'm helping inspire them on their journey, and they're glad to be my friend, and I'm like, wow, it's fascinating. And I'm watching my son as he grows his online presence, both of my sons, and I see how these people have this sense of loyalty and how they have this inspiration and motivation to be better because they're watching them. And not everyone does. Not everyone has the courage to say something, right? Because I've been that person who's just watched, but it's fascinating to see what happens when we have the courage to say something. you take a shot in the dark. It is a no right now, right? Like what I know right now is I'm not getting any feedback on my channel. But if I send this thing and it gives me feedback, I'm a win. There's no rejection that, oh my gosh, you didn't pick mine to review. No, it's a no now and it's a no then. It's okay, because every no brings you closer to somebody who will help you. And at the end of the day, through every experience I've ever experienced, for a long time, like I said, I saw the situations as being something that was happening to me, something I deserved to happen to me. I don't know why or what I did to deserve it, but I knew I deserved it. I knew I was being punished for something. And what this journey has taught me is I'm not being punished for anything, nor do I deserve anything that happens that I don't enjoy, nor do I deserve any of it, right? Like, but here's the thing, no matter how terrible something was, a brain surgery, a heart surgery, a knee surgery, an assault, any of these things that have happened within my life or the immediate people around me, is there has been one consistent theme. And it's taken until the journey for me to really, really, really learn this lesson. And perhaps that's the whole point, right? Is I had this big lesson to learn and I kept getting it wrong. Like I was taking the test, I was sitting down like, I know it. Let me take this test. The world is against me. Everybody hates me. All these things. I got it. Turn it in. I'm going to get an A. Sit there happy. F again. What? I got it right. So there we go through something else and it's happening again. Oh, I got this. This is happening to me. I deserve this. I'm not worthy. I'm ugly. Nobody likes me. Turn it in. Waiting. F, got it wrong. But what I have learned and what I have realized, that especially in my most challenging, darkest moments, there always was someone to help. I talk about this situation with my mom when I was a young girl. And everything that needed to be done couldn't be done by me. I went downstairs and luckily she was a nurse and luckily she helped. There were paramedics that came. They helped. There were people that helped all around that situation. Again, like I've said, when my kids have needed surgery, there are people that helped. There were x-ray technicians and MRI technicians and radiologists and surgeons and insurances and all those things that we often forget. There were people sending foods and cards, well wishes, prayers, gifts, checking in on us. That is help. There's this gentleman who I don't even know that gave me some really constructive feedback that I really appreciate. And that's help. We are a community. We are bigger than just us. And while I seem and I feel like sometimes like, this is just what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my purpose. Like, and I know that that's like, oh, find my purpose. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. At the end of the day, my whole realization is everything about me that I enjoy, it's about connecting with you. It's about hearing your stories. And you hearing mine, and knowing that even though we may be on different sides of the world or state or city or whatever it may be, we're the same. I'm a human. You're a human. You bleed. I bleed. You want to be loved. I want to be loved. Life happens, but it's not happening to us. Really, it's not. It's happening for us. There's so many lessons. Even in the small things, like yesterday where there was a catastrophe about gift cards and I did all my work and I did all these things. I abandoned who I was. I did not enforce my boundaries. And at the end of the day, the thing that would have been key, patience is power. Because if I had the patience to just not want to take over and fix and resolve the thing, I would have waited till today where the offices were open. We could connect with people that can help us, all of that stuff. So again, sometimes we have to let back and sit back and understand that even in really tough situations, there is a beautiful lesson and there is something to learn, and there are always people there and around to help. And sometimes they're not going to just volunteer and come to you. Sometimes you have to raise your hand and ask, or they may ask, and you're going to have to do your part too. But just as much as people have been there to help me, I'm here to help you too, in whatever way I possibly can. And I really hope that there's something in here that plants a seed and tells you that this world is not out to get you, that really it is for you. And there are people out there that are kind and generous, and it may not always feel like it. You may have had so many challenging things that have happened to you, and you didn't deserve it. You don't deserve it whatsoever. But really take those moments and those experiences and learn what the lesson is. Like check, do some soul searching and see what its value is in your life, when we often want to just wish these things away or dwell in the pain of it all. So I say all that to say thank you for tuning in today. I'm so excited that I have this opportunity to connect with you today. So please go out there, give somebody a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you. Bye. I'm gonna get this one day. See, it's not always easy changing.